Hey everyone, I'm Rob and welcome to the test drive. Today, I'm driving the Lincoln MKS, and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this car, as well as why I think this is one of the best used luxury cars that you can buy. Let's go. So as you might imagine, the reason I'm talking about a used car today is because the Lincoln MKS is no longer made. So here's the thing. As the 2010s were coming up and Lincoln was starting to ramp down production of the Lincoln Town Car, the Lincoln MKS was born, and it was on the same platform as the current generation of the Ford Taurus. And as the Lincoln Continental came out in 2017, the Lincoln MKS therefore went away. So this car is kind of at the point where it's still a really nice, very modern car, but because it's no longer being made and the vehicles that are out there have depreciated so drastically, you can pick one of these up for a very good price. For example, I found so many Lincoln MKSs on the market right now across the country for under $20,000 with under 50,000 miles on them. So you're looking at 2014, 2015 Lincoln MKSs that are priced really low, less than half of what this car would have cost new. Now, the one that I'm driving today is a 2016 model, so there are quite a few differences from when this car was first introduced to the last year of the MKS, which is the one that I'm driving today. But again, I'm going to share everything with you about this vehicle and show you why this is such a great luxury used car to buy today in 2018. So we're going to start with the exterior of the MKS. Now, if you look at the front of this car, it is not the most aggressive looking front, in my opinion. If you look at the Taurus, for example, I think the Taurus looks significantly more aggressive. I don't know if that's just in my brain because of so many Taurus police cars, but I just feel like the headlights on the Taurus are more aggressive. I feel like here, it looks elegant, it looks good. The headlights aren't really a significant factor, and headlights can certainly make a vehicle look a lot more aggressive depending on what they look like. The hood kind of slopes down, but at the same time, it does look elegant. It looks like an expensive car. Then if you go around to the side, I like that this looks like a very long car, but at the same time, it does also have a modern look. Whereas the Lincoln Town Car, I mean, that was a long car, but this just looks a lot more modern. I like the large rims. And then the back, I think, looks really good. The back is probably the best looking part of this car, in my opinion. I like the Lincoln badging, how it's spread out along the back. I also like that you have the dual exhaust. I like the taillights as well. They do look nice, kind of resembles the look that you see in some Cadillacs with those long taillights that are on the very edge of the back of the car. Overall, I do think this is a good looking car. It looks very luxurious and elegant and expensive. I mean, certainly not to the level that the Lincoln Continental does at this point, but still really looks nice. Now, when you get to the interior, I think this is one of the strongest selling points of this car. I think the first thing you notice when you get in here is that this is a very large sedan. The driver and front passenger seats are bigger seats. They're a little bit wider than what you typically see in a sedan. You have plenty of space in between the two seats, and then the back seat is really big as well. I'm 6 feet tall. I had no problem sitting behind myself. I think somebody much larger than me could sit pretty much anywhere in this car. And you have a very large trunk as well, and that is what you'd expect, obviously, in what has been Lincoln's largest sedan for over half a decade. You have soft touch surfaces all over the interior of this car. The leather is very soft. You have a soft leather wrapped steering wheel. The seats are really soft. The surfaces all over the car are very soft. You don't really have very much hard plastic anywhere in this car. I do love the wood grain in the steering wheel as well, and I love that it doesn't take up like the entire top of the steering wheel. I also love the fact that a black headliner is standard. I think that's so necessary in a luxury vehicle when the rest of the interior is black or very dark gray. I also love the dual moonroofs in this car as well. Now, the first one opens up, and then the second one is just kind of for looks. This is a very comfortable car to be in. I drove this basically 5 hours one day and then again 5 hours the next day. And I mean, it was very, very nice to be in. I was extremely happy to have the MKS for the trip that I was on. Now, getting to the performance of the Lincoln MKS, for pretty much the entire run of this car, there were 2 different engines available. And in some of the more modern years, those engines did put out a little bit more power. In the last couple years of the MKS, there was a 3.7 liter naturally aspirated V6. That's been kind of available throughout many Lincoln and Ford vehicles. In this MKS, in the more recent years, it puts out 305 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. That is the engine that I have under the hood of this MKS. And I mean, I think it's pretty adequate. You don't have a problem like accelerating. It sounds really good. It's one of the things I really like about having a naturally aspirated V6 is the sound. And it's that real, more raw sound versus having more of an induction noise type of sound with the turbos and everything. But that said, the MKS does also offer the 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. Now, this is at a time when Lincoln was still using the EcoBoost name. If you look at the latest Lincoln vehicles, even though there are several EcoBoost engines, they don't call them that anymore. Now, the EcoBoost V6, it's a twin turbocharged V6 engine putting out 365 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. It is the exact same engine that is found in the Taurus Show, and it is used like in the Explorer Sport and a bunch of other vehicles. The MKS is available in either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The one that I'm driving is the front-wheel drive model. I would have preferred to have this in all-wheel drive, but it's not that big of a deal. You actually don't get a ton of torque steer with the 3.7 liter V6 and having front-wheel drive. I was really surprised. But again, the 3.5 liter EcoBoost with all-wheel drive is really nice, and it does make this MKS even more fun to drive. Now, the MKS also does handle pretty well for its size. I mean, you can corner pretty aggressively and take tight turns rather quickly in this car, and it doesn't feel like it's too big to do it. Now, the transmission in the MKS is a 6-speed automatic. You do have paddles to interact with the transmission if you want to put this thing in sport, which gives you that manual functionality on a permanent basis, whereas like you can use the paddles and drive, but then it will go back into automatic mode. That said, the paddles, they're actually not that slow. I'm kind of surprised. I thought they would be slower than this. The MKS does have a very soft suspension, which means it rides very nicely over bumps. Now, getting to the technology in the Lincoln MKS, depending on the year, there are going to be different versions of the infotainment system that are offered. Originally, the MKS was offered with a very ancient infotainment system. I don't even know what it's called. After that, you did have the My Ford Touch system, and the My Ford Touch system was a little bit better, looked nicer, but in the latest years of the MKS, in its final years, it did get Sync 3. That is a phenomenal system. So that is something to consider if you're looking at the MKS. You know, if you look at one of the final years that it was offered, definitely 2016, I believe 2015 as well, you will see that Sync 3 is available. Now, it doesn't come standard with navigation, and in 2016 there was no Apple CarPlay. So if you get the Sync 3 navigation system, that is very nice, and I would recommend getting that in the MKS because the possibility of having Apple CarPlay is not that great. Now, you also have the screens to the left and the right of the speedometer, a screen on the left that has a digital tachometer as well as a bunch of vehicle information, and then a screen on the right that gives you like phone or entertainment or navigation information. My only potential small little gripe with this infotainment system is the fact that all the buttons underneath of it are actually these touch sensitive buttons. They're not real buttons, which can be a little bit frustrating at times, but you do get used to it. You also get push button start, you get the proximity key to enter and exit the vehicle, and you also get remote start. in the MKS, so I do like that a lot. You get a nice big backup camera with rear parking sensors, and then the MKS that I'm driving also has front parking sensors. And then there is a lot of additional technology that you can get in terms of like blind spot monitoring and a lot of the other safety technology. It is available. The one that I'm driving just doesn't have it. So there are a lot of technology options available in the MKS, and that's one of the things that I really like in terms of this being a used car. I mean, you do get all the modern amenities. It doesn't feel like it's really behind modern vehicles at all. You can get everything that you would want pretty much in this MKS. For everything that you get for the price, that's really why I think this is one of the best used luxury cars that you can buy today in 2018. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And once again, I'm Rob. This is the test drive, and thanks again for taking this test drive with me. Also, hit that subscribe button if you like. It does help support the channel. It does help me make more videos, and it makes you eligible for all the giveaways that we have going on. I am about to announce a new giveaway, so I cannot wait for that. We just sent out the Akaso EK7000 action camera to Steve W, who is a subscriber who won that. So very excited for him to start using his camera and be able to enjoy that. So again, thanks for taking this test drive with me, and I'll talk to you soon.